Good afternoon. My name is Michael Sandoval.
And I'm Chris Stetzel.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. So welcome to another episode of Peers Over Beers. And today we're having, we have two different beers.
Yeah.
So mine is Lakewood Lager.
Yep. And mine's Polliner.
Yeah, Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
I should know German by now, but...
Yeah, you should. Yeah, exactly. You should know German by now.
They're a lot of fun to work with.
They're great people. I love it. The city, Munich is where we used to go to, and it's fun city. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
And since we're in the heart of Lakewood, in Dallas, Texas, that's why I'm drinking this one. Well, so let's begin. So this is actually our first podcast we got together after the holidays.
Yeah.
So I hope you had a good holiday.
Oh, I did. How about you?
Yeah, I had a good break. I hung out with my family, my nephews, and didn't think about anything. So it was great.
Yeah, my wife and I for Christmas went to New York and spent about 3 or 4 days there and just did all the Christmas things, So a lot of cool stuff.
Did you guys take in a show or anything like that?
We did. We we went to see a show, the Rockettes. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's a very famous show.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah. I told somebody the other day, or when I first got back, and my wife was there, and I go, yeah, the Rocketeers. And she's like, no, Chris. That's not Rocketeers. So I was like, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. So close.
I was like, I don't care. And then I was saying, yeah, we did some other things. And then she started writing them all down. I said, this is what we did, Chris. I was like, oh, okay. So,
knowing your wife, that was pretty funny. That's a good
yeah,
one.
It was funny, but it was a lot of fun. It was cold, but a lot of fun. And I can't wait till next year. I think we might go to the beach during like New Year's or something like that, New Year's Eve.
Do you guys take like a holiday or like a Christmas something holiday?
Usually we don't. We just stay here and hang out with friends or family. And so, but this time we decided to go out. I didn't have my son, and so we went to go do something kind of, it's not crazy. We love to go do those kinds of things, but something a little different this last year than we have in the past. And we'll probably continue to do something like that every year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I went to my back home to my home of El Paso, Texas, and I think I just ate too much.
Yeah,
drank too much.
That happens to all of us, man.
Yeah. So one of the big things that we do during Christmas is to make homemade tamales. Oh my God, they were so good. You just get what they call tamaleed out. You're just done.
Yeah.
Because you're done making them. They're very laborious, and then you eat them because you make a whole shit ton of them.
Yeah.
And
I love tamales.
They're great.
Just all kinds of tamales?
Yeah, we did 3 types. We did, of course, the traditional red chili. And then we did cheese and chicken. Green chili and chicken. And then my sister did one with a few of them as refried beans and cheese, which is not a traditional one.
That sounds good, though.
It actually was really solid. And she made them for my nephews, for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
They
like
love
cheese
they
and
love
beans.
beans. They love beans, which is kind of funny. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I don't know why I got onto that, but it's kind of good to hear
Making me
everybody's
hungry
back.
for some tamales.
I know. So we as we always do when we start off our pod, when we start our recording, we start going through a bunch of topics, and so we have some good ones coming up. So there'll be a series of them.
I think so.
But when we start today, I think one of the things we were talking was around today is CMAD, or Community Manager Appreciation Day.
Yep.
Was I think the discussion. So today I think it is January 27th. So
yes.
happy.
Yes, it is.
Happy CMAD Day for everybody. But the theme this year was around self-care, and so I wrote down some things that I do from self-care. But then I asked you. Yeah. And you had an opinion, which was pretty interesting. So
yeah, look.
What's your opinion at?
I'll say solid. That self-care is important. I don't deny it, but I feel like I've heard this self care for the last 6, 8, 12 months, not just in community management, but just just in every little. So maybe it's just I feel like the words are just overused because I've seen it on LinkedIn. I've seen it. I feel like I've seen it on TV and things like that. So I just, for some reason, when I saw this all over LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, about community management and self-care, and everybody's writing about it and things like that, and I'm thinking, God, that's so annoying. But then I realized, so it is kind of just annoying to hear it all, but I think it's kind of a, it's one of these buzz things that are going on right now.
And it's just a trending topic.
Yeah, it's a trending topic. Although I think self-care is highly important. I think I was telling you earlier, when I think of the things that I'm doing on a daily basis, with community management and, I'm thinking about a content plan. I'm thinking about engaging users, how to get users. I'm a one-man shop today, and so, I want to do an amazing job, and I get very stressed out about doing that amazing job. Yeah, I work hard, I do all these things, but at the end of the day, you really need other people to help. So building a virtual team and all that stuff, then you got to go do that and find out all the people to do those things, and you figure out who those are over time. But the point is I want to do well, and I want to not necessarily impress people, but I want to say within the organization, this is a true community that is helping our customers get the answers that they need. It's a support community, and we're doing the right things. And then I think of metrics, and I think of, are we really writing about the right products? Are we, and then I was like, okay, Chris, just settle down. And so
I was going to say, someone needs self-care now.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, this happened at Rexel when we worked together. But luckily I did have you to help kind of, you pushed me, but then you kind of knew how to say, hey, you knew when I was super stressed out, and you were like, okay, Chris, let's just think about this, and let's get on the board and start, hashing this out and see what our problems are. And then you come to a resolution to some degree, right? And so it would calm me down. And so sometimes, or this last little over a year, building this community at Imperva, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of learning, and really just helped me in some big ways. But, it was super fucking stressful, man. And so I do think self-care is highly important. What are some things that I go do to make sure that I don't stay stressed out, and a couple of big things that I do is, one, and so I'll just kind of name these.
Because I have questions
into
them.
One is I do a lot of running, and so I'm a big half marathoner. I've run tons of half marathons, and I have goals and things like that, and I have I'm part of a running club, so I go run with them throughout the week. So
what's the name of your running club?
Dallas Running Club. Yeah. And so I'm part of that group, and so met a lot of people doing similar things. I even have a community called the DFW Running. I think that's what it's called. And I think I have like 700 or 800 people now in that, and it's starting to slowly but surely take off. But, so I do a lot of those things, and spend some time with the wife, and we travel and like to go places. So I feel like I do plenty of self-care, but, But I think that so that's extremely helpful. But I think that trying to find people to bounce some of these ideas off of, like a mentor or a peer or somebody that's done it. I spent a lot of time last year talking to other community managers doing similar things. But I think what I need is, and I think these podcasts really help me in a big way because I have you, right? And you really can kind of talk at that high level and help me to think in those ways. And I think continuing to put myself around those kind of people is very important.
Yeah, because you also do it online. The people that you follow and kind of in the reverse side as well. But when you first started off talking about self-care, there was something you brought up that I was fascinated by.
Yeah.
Because again, going a little bit higher level, self-care sounds kind of weird.
Yeah,
just generally.
Kind of. Maybe that's what gets to me too. I don't know. Maybe weird. I don't like the words, but
yeah. But I wonder if it's trending. The way it sounded when you were talking about it off off mic.
Yeah.
Was that there was like a bigger trend. Like I hear this all the time.
Yeah.
And do you think you hear it all the time because, pardon me, that because people are just becoming more stressed and are unable to manage it? Or is it something in the community management field that we have to wear many hats and we incur that stress? Or just, are we just in a very stressed, is it, just life in general? Is it just, I hate to sound like the trope of, no offense to my millennial friends, but this is it's kind of how, is it generally, I guess the word I'm trying to say is, it's just, this is how it works, right? We're always in a stressful environment. Just how do you manage that over time?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that
this is right away to my discuss.
Yeah, I think I think that I've heard it a lot personally. Like you hear it a lot more from, people in general that you got to really take care of yourself. Self-care is so important, and
yeah, this is the thread I was trying to pull from you,
and I'm like, yeah, okay. But working hard is important, and doing the right things is important. So I think I've heard it more outside of the business talk, and more inside of the personal kind of, millennial. I don't know if it's millennial. Let's not blame the millennials for everything.
No, exactly. Because it's so easy, but no offense to those. No offense, of course, but it's kind of easy.
No offense, of course. But let me offend you some more.
Let me offend you some more. I'll just keep going.
But I think I've heard it more in the personal realm of things, and then when I saw it online everywhere today, about community management, I was like, if I think about it, it's true. You do have to think about self-care, and I do think you're onto something because. There's a lot of things you have to think about when building communities, especially if you're building it yourself. I did hear a stat today, which I was very interested to understand more. Maybe I read it yesterday. I don't remember, but basically it was only 30% of online community managers are lone wolves now. So you are starting to see people with staff, community teams with staff, and so. That's positive and that's good. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I get one of those? And so, so that's another self-care thing, right? Like how do I get more people to help drive?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Anyways.
Maybe that's part of the stressor, right? Or at least why it needs to be done in the community perspective. That because you have to wear so many hats and have so many responsibilities. And we talked about this ad infinitum before, right?
Yeah.
That you have to build it, produce it, sell it, and keep it running all at the same time, right? And plus wear a marketing hat. That just creates a lot of stress, right? So that's one. Second, it is sometimes a lone wolf, right? It's just you and a couple other folks who are doing it, and that just kind of weighs a lot, right?
And when you say a couple of other folks, for me there are a couple of other folks sort of doing it, but they have a full-time job that they do somewhere else. So for example, for me, I built these relationships all across the organization, and I say all across. And really, there's only a few people really doing the help. There's this one woman in Israel that she's in Tel Aviv, and she helps me a lot. But she's young, she's eager, she's wanting to do something a little different, and she's excited to learn about something new, right? And so. And so I grabbed her and started teaching her and helping her, and I pushed her a little bit, but it's the same things that I did when I was in Rexel. I did that to different in different countries like Germany and France and Canada, and found specific people to help do some of those things.
Right.
But I just took that and did the same, and so it's not that I don't have anyone. I'm building a virtual team to find some of those people that are eager and excited, but they have other jobs that they have to do on a daily basis. And so I always wonder, like, how long does a virtual team really even last? Yeah, you can have calls, you can build a relationship, and until maybe their boss or somebody says something like, what the hell are you doing? Get off that shit. You know what I mean? Like, and so I worry about those kinds of things all the time. What if, and it's not that I live in the land of what ifs, but I do have to think about those kinds of things and continue to build this virtual team that, can help me in marketing or research or some product area or sales or whatever, legal, etc. And so, we did that, at Rixel. We built some teams, virtual teams that, that sometimes were successful and sometimes weren't. It's just the way it was. And that's what you get. And so you had to think about that stuff. So I know we got off.
No. Because I was going to ask you, because this is interesting. So what is the one thing that stresses you out the most? Like today, what was the thing that stressed you out
today? The biggest thing that stresses me out is always looking forward. What is the next, not next big thing, but what is next for our community, right? So, I think of content. I'm building so much content, and hopefully that content plan is right. Nobody else really knows it. Yeah, Chris, that looks great. Does it? Data will tell on that. And then it's like, okay, well, I also need to build, more importantly, we have to think about the customer, right? And how do we engage and interact, and how do we really build a program that really helps our customers and then gets them engaged with each other, gets them engaged with our partners, get them engaged. To me, it's all about the customer. And there's things within those areas that I just don't know how or what to do. And the way, and that part scares me is, well, I know that I want to go. So I'll just give you one example, because I believe it's highly important, and this could take a few years to get to. But when I think of like a super user program, you could start early on identifying those people that are engaging, that want to help, and things like that. But to really build a good super user program, you need a rewards and recognition program to really start trying to identify some of those people. I'm building. I believe you have to build an engagement strategy, right? And then some of these tactics to really just drive that engagement strategy. So things like that I'm doing today are, and I'm super excited about it, and I can't even tell you how excited I am, but it's still just
I can see it in your faces, buddy.
It's just one tactic, right? Like it's basically just recognizing people in the community. It's not that they're doing anything great. Maybe they are, but it's really just saying these blogging about, like I call it what am I calling it? Impervian customer spotlight, community spotlight. And so I'll have this cool little picture of them with a little blurb about why they like community, and then I'll write a blog about them, right? And then they start linking it in. So, for example, our first one back in January, this woman named Sabi, she was so excited about being spotlighted. And when I spotlighted her, I tagged her in this blog and everything else, and she shared it. She's from Albania, right? And so she shared it, and like 60 plus people liked it on her area, and some people. And then I slacked it in community and then some other areas, and then I started telling people about it. I got super excited. Look, I want to do several of these throughout the year. First you got to find some customers to do it. That's another. That's another thing. You got to go find these people to do it. And so, I know I'm kind of going in too much detail here, but basically, that worries me, right? Like, that's my biggest thing is I want to be so successful at the customer and getting them engaged and involved and super excited. That's just one little tactic. But you know what goes into that one fucking tactic?
Yeah,
is
whole shitload of
I got to blog about it.
Yeah.
I got to create a picture about it. I've got to interview her about it, and him and all these people. And yes, I mean, sometimes so this one guy says sometimes you have to do the you have to go over and beyond in the beginning to really just start eventually getting into automation and things like that. Anyways.
No, because I was going to poke at something. Not poke. Yeah. That's the wrong term.
Not really.
This podcast went to a different direction. But one of the things you said, which is very interesting, as you were kind of describing kind of your stress points.
Yeah.
The way I pulled it, and I'm wondering if other community managers feel this, and I don't know if it's just an American culture to say this, but being afraid to say I don't know. And it's not that you don't, but I think we are experts in our field, and I think there's a belief that we need to be an expert at everything. And
maybe part of self-care is what you just said is saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
How do we go figure that out together?
And you have to say, I don't know in a constructive way, because you can't say to your boss, like, shit, I don't know, dude.
I would tell you, I don't know, man. You
yeah,
tell
that's
me.
true. I mean,
what do I need to go do next?
Yeah, it's okay.
But if you were to say, I don't know, I'd be like,
well, actually, maybe you bring up a very good point, right? Because you had earlier said about mentoring and finding a right team, and maybe part of this trend that we hear, and I'm now opining. I have no data to support this.
Yeah.
But maybe it's around this idea of finding the right mentors, getting the right not education, but maybe it's the right ideas, the right knowledge for you to go off and be successful, right?
Yeah.
Because if you had that, then the rest is implementation, which in itself has another stress point.
Sure does.
But even if I look at myself, like all the times that I've been stressed is around lack of knowledge. Whenever I came to a point where I was unsure of the next step, or didn't know if it was going to be if I was making the right decision, to be very frank.
Yeah.
Are the times when I was the most stressed.
Yeah.
And if you just know you can bounce something off of somebody to say this was right, or go check something else, or get some other data, then I'd be all in it. But I think as a lot of community managers, we rely on each other, as what this podcast does. But at the same time, you kind of have to just kind of put your neck out there a bit sometimes too.
Yeah, because you don't. So I think organizations are different, and even if I were to go to another organization like Imperva, they have different technologies, they have different, maybe products and things like that. So there's some similarities that you can build, but you don't know who you're dealing with until you deal with it. I think politics is probably the hardest thing. But you're right. I mean, that is hard. Like, because if you don't know what's next, I mean, you build a roadmap and you kind of start thinking that way, but you always run into issues, even if you build the roadmap or the strategic plan and the roadmap underneath it, and then even the tactics, and you run into some issues. You're like, oh shit, like I thought I was gonna be able to do SSO, for the customer, and now I can't because of these reasons. And it's like, oh, how do I solve that problem? And so, it's you just have to keep working at it, and in my mind, it's you try to work on it, you try to find some solutions. If you can't, then you move on to the next thing. And that's what I do. Is like, well, I don't know about that one. I'll have to think about that more. Let's go to this.
Yeah, I'll begin to kind of close the podcast, but it's around, as you keep talking, like my brain goes off to this idea. Oh my goodness, this is like organizational issues. Like, why does again, going back to the original thought, why are we having self-care? Yeah. Why is the concept of self-care? Right? Yeah. And we start off by talking about this idea of why am I hearing it all over the place? Is it just this trending thing? And of course, I went on about, no offense to my millennials, but maybe it was a millennial thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? But I think it's okay to look at it in terms of in our sector, ending in this conversation around organizational the importance of having a strong team, being able to be in a team that it's okay to fail, being in a team that is okay to say, I don't know yet, but this is what I need to understand, and having that faith that your manager has your back, to go off and do those things, right? Because these things are new elements, right? They're not for what we're doing. It's not that it's brand new, but it's also not conventional, right? This is definitely, if you look at the evolution of a digital transformation, this is on the backside of evolution of the transformation, right? So it's not something that you're going to hear up front, especially when you're trying to figure out how to sell something online, right? In some other cases. So this is definitely kind of backside of that transition. Anyway, so that was me kind of summing up a little bit of the discussion point again, because we were trying to celebrate. We're not trying. We were thinking more about the other side of the point of self-care, about Community Manager Appreciation Day.
Yeah,
and true that we appreciate all the community managers. Absolutely,
I do. Yeah,
and
all the ones that talk to me, anyways.
That's true. And again, maybe the self-care message should be not how do you manage your own stress? Because I can go on about mine as well. But how do you seek those things that make your professional life easier? How do you find and seek out the environment that allows you to fail without a harm on you? Finding the right mentors, getting the knowledge you need to make a positive next step, to make those great roadmaps, right? Maybe that's what we quote unquote leave on, right? That you find those. And hopefully if you listen to us, you'll get those insights.
Absolutely. You will.
Thank you guys for listening to the first podcast for the year. My name is Michael Sandoval.
And I'm Chris Stetzel.
Great. And we'll hope you guys listen to us next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.